Throughout history, humans have asked the same haunting question: what happens after we die? And perhaps an even more mysterious one: can the dead communicate with the living? Across cultures, religions, and centuries, people have reported moments when they felt the presence of someone who had already passed away. A voice in a dream, a familiar scent appearing out of nowhere, objects moving. Strange coincidences that feel too personal to ignore. Skeptics call it coincidence. Believers call it contact. But what if the truth lies somewhere in between? Even in our modern scientific age, reports of contact with the dead have never stopped. In fact, they may be more common than we think. Surveys across several countries show that a large percentage of people claim to have had at least one experience where they believed a deceased loved one reached out to them. These experiences often occur in quiet moments, during grief, during sleep, or during times of emotional vulnerability. One of the most common ways people report contact with the dead is through dreams. Many people say they have vivid dreams where a deceased family member appears and speaks to them as if they were still alive. These dreams often feel very different from ordinary dreams. They are unusually clear, emotionally powerful, and easy to remember. People frequently say the person in the dream looks healthy and peaceful. Sometimes the deceased gives reassurance. Sometimes they deliver a message. And sometimes they simply appear for a brief moment, almost as if to say goodbye. Psychologists often explain these dreams as part of the brain's grieving process. When someone we love dies, our minds struggle to process the loss. Dreams may help us emotionally integrate that experience. The brain replays memories, emotions, and unresolved feelings, creating powerful dream encounters that feel real. Yet many people insist that these dreams feel fundamentally different from normal dreaming. Some describe them as visits rather than dreams. In many cases, the dream occurs shortly after the person's death, sometimes even before the dreamer knows the person has passed away. There are also reports where the deceased shares information the dreamer could not have known at the time. These stories are rare but fascinating. They challenge the idea that these experiences are purely psychological. Another common form of alleged contact involves sensory experiences. People report smelling the perfume of a deceased mother, hearing footsteps in an empty house, feeling a gentle touch when no one is there. In some cases, lights flicker or electronic devices behave strangely. Scientists studying grief have noticed something interesting. After the loss of a loved one, the brain can become extremely sensitive to reminders of that person. Our senses are deeply tied to memory. A certain smell or sound can instantly trigger powerful emotional recollections. From a neurological perspective, the brain may recreate sensory impressions associated with the deceased. The mind, in a sense, briefly reconstructs the presence of the person we lost. But once again, the phenomenon is not always so easy to dismiss. Many people report experiences that occur in moments when they were not actively thinking about the deceased. Others report shared experiences where multiple people witness the same unusual event. Throughout history, these kinds of experiences led to the rise of spiritual mediums. Mediums claim to act as intermediaries between the living and the dead. In the 19th century, spiritualism became extremely popular in Europe and America. People gathered in dark rooms for seances, hoping to communicate with those who had passed on. Some mediums were later exposed as frauds using hidden wires, secret assistants, or clever tricks. But not all cases were so easily explained. Even scientists of the time became curious. In the early 20th century, researchers began investigating paranormal claims under controlled conditions. Some experiments attempted to test whether mediums could obtain information they had no normal way of knowing. Results were inconsistent. Some experiments appeared impressive, while others showed no evidence of anything unusual. Modern neuroscience offers another perspective. The human brain is incredibly good at pattern recognition. It constantly tries to find meaning in random events. When we experience grief, our emotional brain becomes even more active. This can lead us to interpret coincidences as meaningful signs. For example, imagine you are thinking about a loved one who passed away. Suddenly, a song that reminds you of them begins playing on the radio. It feels like a message. But statistically speaking, coincidences like this happen all the time. However, this explanation does not satisfy everyone. Some physicists have proposed ideas that challenge our understanding of reality itself. Modern physics suggests that time may not flow in the simple linear way we experience it. Some interpretations of quantum mechanics imply that information in the universe may never truly disappear. If consciousness is somehow connected to fundamental aspects of the universe, it raises a fascinating possibility. Perhaps consciousness does not completely vanish when the brain stops functioning. Perhaps it changes form in ways we do not yet understand. Near-death experiences add another layer to the mystery. Thousands of people who have been clinically close to death report similar experiences. They describe leaving their bodies, seeing deceased relatives, entering environments filled with light and overwhelming peace. Skeptics argue that these experiences are produced by the brain under extreme stress. When oxygen levels drop and neurotransmitters surge, the brain can generate vivid hallucinations. But researchers studying near-death experiences have found cases where people accurately describe events that occurred while they were technically unconscious. These rare cases continue to puzzle scientists. Another intriguing phenomenon is what researchers call crisis apparitions. These are reports where someone suddenly sees or senses a loved one at the exact moment that person dies, even though the observer has not yet learned about the death. There are thousands of such accounts recorded over the last century. While many may be coincidences or memory distortions, the sheer number of reports keeps the mystery alive. Grief itself may also open the door to unusual states of consciousness. When we lose someone close to us, our perception of reality changes. The emotional bond we had with that person does not simply disappear. In many ways, they continue to exist in our inner world. Memories replay. Conversations continue in our minds. We imagine what they would say if they were still here. Some psychologists believe these internal dialogues can feel so vivid that they are experienced as external encounters. But perhaps there is another possibility. Human relationships are built on deep emotional connections. When two people share years of memories, experiences, and love, their minds become intertwined in complex ways. Even after death, the psychological imprint of that person remains deeply embedded in our consciousness. So when someone dreams of a deceased parent or hears their voice during a quiet moment, it may not simply be imagination. It may be the echo of a profound bond that continues to resonate within the mind. Still, there are stories that push the mystery even further. Some people report receiving warnings in dreams from deceased relatives that later prove accurate. Others say they were guided to lost objects or important decisions after asking a deceased loved one for help. These accounts cannot easily be verified, yet they continue to appear across cultures around the world. Perhaps the most powerful aspect of these experiences is not whether they are objectively real, but how deeply they affect those who have them. People who believe they have been contacted by a deceased loved one often describe a sense of peace. Their fear of death decreases. Their grief softens. From a psychological perspective, this alone could explain why the human mind might generate such experiences. But from a philosophical perspective, the question remains open. Science has explained many mysteries that once seemed supernatural. Thunder was once thought to be the voice of angry gods. Disease was once blamed on spirits. Over time, knowledge replaced myth. Yet consciousness itself remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in science. We still do not fully understand how awareness arises from the brain. We do not know why subjective experience exists at all. Until we understand consciousness, we cannot fully answer what happens to it when the body dies. So when someone says they dreamed of a loved one who passed away, or felt their presence during a quiet moment, there are several possibilities. It could be the mind healing itself. It could be coincidence interpreted through emotion. Or it could be something we have not yet discovered. Maybe the boundary between life and death is not as clear as we think. Perhaps what we call death is simply a transformation of consciousness into a state we do not yet understand. And maybe, just maybe, the moments when people feel the presence of someone they loved are small glimpses into that mystery. Until science finds a definitive answer, the question remains open. Are these experiences simply creations of the human mind? Or are the dead, in ways we cannot yet explain, still reaching out to the living?